The Blue Beetle trailer has recently been released, and a lot of people are talking about it. Now, at first glance, for me, taking a look at it, just so you guys know, I am not a huge Blue Beetle person. I've only seen him a little bit in the Young Justice cartoon. Other than that, I don't know anything about the character. I know there's a symbiote bug thing that gets onto the host. Takes it doesn't take over their mind exactly, but it sort of works with them as an AI. From the implication in the Young Justice was that they are supposed to sort of take over, but I don't know exactly. I didn't look too much into the detail about that, and that was a while ago. But yeah, I don't have much information on it. A lot of people say it's like a Spider-Man type of archetype, and the one that they're doing, like this Blue Beetle, there was an original Blue Beetle where his spine got messed up, and then the symbiote came onto him, so he got powers after that. But with this, it just seems to be like a normal kid working a job, and then he gets into this whole situation. On top of everything going on with DC, with how they're switching all these things up, the Snyderverse is pretty much done with. James Gunn has all these new plans going forward. It's hard to say what exactly Blue Beetle is going to have to do with that or how tied it is to the current DC stuff. DC in general seems to want to have a less connected area of things, I would imagine, with their franchises, but they also seem to want to have them connected because that was successful for Marvel for a long time. So I can see where they're going with that. So let's take a look at the trailer here. I've already seen the trailer. I'm not going to play and react to it for you right here because there's only a few things in it that I want to actually comment on. I like the casting choice of the main character, the guy who played as Miguel in Cobra Kai, as our protagonist in this. He seemed to be a martial artist that can do his stunts at least. I'm not sure how much he actually knows about karate and all that stuff specifically, but he seems to be able to do a lot of those stunt work, which is impressive. That's good. And his background seems to be a little generic. Like, he comes from a poor family and he wants to do more with his life, more than what he's currently doing. And then this thing ends up plopping onto his table, essentially. A friend gives him a box, and it does seem like if it was very important, it would probably be a little bit more secured than a little flimsy cardboard box here. But, what are you going to do? And then a little blue bug, a symbiotic thing, an alien. I assume it's still supposed to be like an alien, not a human invention, I would think. He opens it up with a couple family members and or friends around, and a little Blue Beetle is on there, and it launches at his face and starts to turn him into the Blue Beetle, essentially, or into the suit of the Blue Beetle, or however that works. And just based on that little scene right there, I think it comes off as very horrific in a way. Like, it's not like super horrific, but I think that this scene could be played as more horrific. But I hate the reactions from everybody around there. They are screaming, but it seems to be presented in a more comedic way, like "Whoa, whoa, wow, bro, that's freaky." Whoa. George Lopez being in the scene does not really help, to be honest, when it comes to that kind of thing. But it seems like a horrific transformation that he's going through, and then the alien tech going through there, and then he just gets shot up into this atmosphere. The actual look of the suit seems fine to me. I know a lot of people think that it looks pretty trashy, looks like CW esque quality, but I've seen a lot of the stuff in CW, and I think the CW ones look noticeably worse. I would say some people like to compare it to Power Rangers, and that annoys the crap out of me because it's always used in like a negative comparison. It's like, oh, this is like some weird Power Ranger suit, and it's like not all the Power Ranger stuff looked like total dog shit. Like, so, but that's what you want this to be like seen as. It's just a dog shit little suit that they're wearing, and it's like, okay, I don't know. I get that kind of irks me a little. And then, but the overall vibe that I get with the trailer is a lot of generic kind of stuff. It's like, oh, he gets these powers, and it just seems there's a huge threat that he's got to face. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be a tiny threat. It seems like it's supposed to be a very big threat. And I get very annoyed when they just jump to the stakes being like the world. It's like, can you even just have it be yourself that's at stake, or your family, or your job, something small? It doesn't have to be like these huge monumental things that you've got to overcome. It can be something very tiny, and you have something that's very powerful, and then trying to not have innocent people get harmed in the process could be just a simple part of it. Like, whatever you're facing, you could probably beat easily, but at what cost to everyone else around you is that going to happen? So you're trying to have it happen in the like most best possible outcome where there's the least casualties. That could be interesting to kind of see, especially in DC, where you get Superman who casually throws Zod into buildings with people in them. But whatever. Let's not go into the Snyder route of everything. But anyway, the last thing that I'll comment on with the Blue Beetle trailer is obviously the final line in the trailer, which is George Lopez's character as his uncle, I think. He says, well, there's a line of dialogue where Blue Beetle is looking at some tech of some kind and says it's Batman like, and then his cuts to his uncle, played by George Lopez, and he says, Batman's a fascist. And then the trailer ends and it's like, boom, boom, here we go.
It's like Batman stuff. Batman's a fascist.
And a lot of people are pissed off at this comment of him saying that Batman is a fascist. Now, personally, yeah, I can see how that can piss a lot of people off, especially with how Hollywood is and how a lot of creators are these days and how they want to get people to react. And this is kind of where I go to, though, by this point. Like, there was a line in the Ant-Man 3, which I didn't see, but apparently there's like a communist line in there. In the Last of Us TV show, which I did watch, there was a little joke about it's post-apocalyptic area and they all have to work together to kind of survive, and they're like, we're a collective commune, we're communists. And like Joel was making fun of Tommy over that a little bit, and Tommy's like, oh no, we're communists, that's not good. Like, it was funny, and I don't really take it as anything more than that. It's not, I don't see that as like they want this to be communist land and it's this is what they're trying to shove down our throats and they want to manipulate us. And I don't really see it as that. So when I see a line like this coming from a character out of context from a movie, that's just the character saying that. I don't see that as DC themselves having this as their opinion and stance on the topic at all, because within context of the film there could be something totally different going on here. Maybe other characters disagree with him. I don't know. Maybe it's just the kooky uncle. I mean, to me, also, it's George Lopez saying it. And from what I can tell with George Lopez, like, I don't like him in general. I don't think he's funny. I used to try to watch one of his shows on Nickelodeon, and I could never laugh. I tried to watch stand up comedy. It wasn't very funny to me. This just seems like one of the things he would say, though. Like, so it's just like, okay, it's a George Lopez line in the movie. Maybe other characters disagree. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of characters that could think that way about him. And a lot of people have mentioned that, well, they don't know who he is. They don't know who Batman is. But I don't know. The term fascist seems to be thrown around all the time in general. So I don't know what versions, like what definition of fascism people are going with. I mean, Batman takes justice into his own hands above the law in his own way. So I don't know. People could see that as fascist, I guess. I don't see it as impossible for somebody to come to the conclusion with Batman being fascist. I don't know. I don't see that as like an impossibility. I don't see that as a dunking on thing. That's a perspective that a character in their universe has. That doesn't mean it's the stance of everybody else. That doesn't mean that's how everybody feels about Batman anyway. Like, I just don't see it as that. I don't know how. I feel it as like a stretch to claim that it is how DC fully feels. So I don't know. And I guess I did see real quick right before I'm recording this video, I was watching a Geeks and Gamers live stream, and it seemed like they're on Twitter. Ryan Kennel was saying something, or they were clipped. I'm not sure out of context or not, but something on Twitter where Ryan and Jeremy are expressing that this isn't very good as a choice for them or for DC. And then it seems like the director of Blue Beetle responded under it with a gif of Skeletor saying, "My job is done," with like laughing emojis, which that could be a sign to a lot of people that yes, they do believe that Batman's fascist and they do want stuff like this going around and being pushed around as their character. I see it as marketing ploy is like achieved. Like I got a reaction that I wanted, which is kind of dumb because like it seems like, especially nowadays, like you know that you're poking at a lot of people when you are saying something like that, especially in a trailer. So yeah, probably not the best move on the director's part, but I don't know. Like, to me, it just doesn't seem like a big deal. It's a very out of line thing, and maybe the movie will be different. Maybe the movie will still be shit, but this line still not have any significance. That's kind of where I'm going with it. It's just one line taken out of context from the movie because we don't have the context yet, and that's all we have to go on. So I think I'm going to see the movie, check it out, and see how it is. But that's mostly because I'm trying to watch more movies in theaters this year anyway. Otherwise, this is one that I probably would wait to see how people react to it and then maybe watch it later. But yeah, I'm going to try to see it in theaters, and let me know what you guys think. If you guys are going to see it in theaters as well, or wait to see how people are responding to it, and Let me know what you think about the Batman is fascist line, and have a great rest of your day.